everybody is unmuted. Should talk really quick.
I'm so proud of you.
So much.
I did it. I unmuted us. Hi. Hello, everybody, and welcome to MangaPod. We are a weekly podcast in which we all get together after we read all or part of a manga, and then we discuss with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. I am Erin of HappiLeeErin, your host, and with me are two of my three lovely co-hosts. Once again, Yokurama is still out with family things, and we have a very special guest who we will introduce in just a second. Dodger.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dodger of Press Hard to Continue. I'm excited to be here and talk about the Ghouls and the Tokyos, and both put together.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Lou, and I'm from Standing by the Window Anime Reviews, and I'm also excited to talk about Tokyo Ghoul because I did not expect to be excited to talk about Tokyo Ghoul. We'll find out more about that later.
Ooh. Interesting.
Gotcha.
That's called a radio tease.
Oh.
Well done.
But like podcast.
So I'm Nick Robinson of youtube.com/Babylonian, and I'm excited to talk about Tokyo Ghoul for much the same reasons that Lou is. I didn't think I was going to be into it, and we'll get there. We'll get to it.
Yay! Thank you so much for joining us, Nick. We're so excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Dodger invited me what feels like forever ago, and I've just been like counting down the days in my head to.
Yeah, you were so on top of it. You were like, I'm reading Tokyo Ghoul right now. It was like months ago.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
damn,
I was like, yeah!
See, I'm glad I gave you the illusion of being on top of it. What I did was I put in my Google Calendar, like, okay, this week I'll read chapters 1 through 7, and then this week I'll read 8 through 14, and then I read, like, the first 5, and then put it down for 2 months, and then did the rest of it this week, so...
Yeah. Sometimes that's better, because then you remember a lot more.
Yeah, when you
I've
read
had the
it
problem where I've
closer.
read too far away from the actual day that we needed to discuss it.
Yeah, I know. I've been like, got really into it and just read it way before, and then I get to the day of and I'm like, oh no, I need to reread everything. Everything. I don't remember.
I'm like, my weakness is always character names, and I try to do everything in my power to not make that any harder for me than it already is. So I kind of deliberately read the last volume today just so things would be semi-fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
Wife.
We're really bad with character names. A lot of time we end up just giving them like descriptions, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, that guy."
The mask guy, the guy who makes the mask.
guy.
Oh, that guy. Mask guy, yeah.
If you've never
Mask guy.
joined us for a manga pod before, what we like to do is give you a short spoiler-free description of the manga that we read, aka a summary, and then we will give you our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we believe you should spend time going to read the manga or not. This would be a good time to tell you that please do not spoil anything about the anime or anything about the manga up until we go into the spoiler section, so please keep all of those spoilers out of the chat. And then once we get into spoiler section, please do not spoil anything that is past chapter 29 because we only read up to chapter 29. We do not know if you guys are posting fake spoilers or not, and you can only be banned. You cannot be timed out on YouTube, so if you get banned, just don't touch it because you won't be allowed back anymore. Just as we're saying.
Yeah,
It's
so
your
just
own fault,
don't even
so
chance
just
it.
Don't do it.
Don't
Just
chance
do
it.
it. Yeah.
It's a good way to soften the blow. I like the accent kind of makes it easier to swallow, I feel like.
I'm gonna have to ban you forever, and you'll never, ever get to watch MangaPod again. But it's okay, because you're so cute.
That's the angle I like to go for. Here to lead us, our lovely description is Nick, as
Alrighty.
we usually have our guest read it. So, take it away, sir.
I will take it away. All right, so here is the synopsis of Tokyo Ghoul. And this is my first time reading this, so I'm excited. Strange murders are happening in Tokyo. That's so far so good. Due to liquid evidence at the scene, the police conclude the attacks are the result of eater-type ghouls. The phrase "liquid evidence" I really like too. It's spooky. College buddies connect. I shouldn't be. I should be interrupting myself.
It's fine.
No, I love it.
Break it down however you
Alrighty.
feel.
Break it.
College buddies Kaneki and Hide come up with the idea that ghouls are imitating humans, so that's why they haven't ever seen one. Little do they know that their theory may very well become reality. That's an interesting way to summarize it, because they're talking around a lot of things right there. That's a good summary of the first page of Tokyo Ghoul. Like,
Yeah, that's interesting.
Wait, is that it?
yeah, that's it.
Wow. That was quick.
It's about college buddies Kaneki and Hide. That's
That's all. It's about them just talking about ghouls.
it's basically old school, but in Tokyo.
Yes.
Two
Yeah.
college
exactly
buds.
like that.
That's exactly what it is. Now I want just like a dojin of that. Just parody.
Yeah. Oh God, one where just Kaneki and Hide just get to live their lives like normal people forever.
Oh
So nice. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
it would
God.
be. I would be so happy.
Anyways.
Anyway,
no
spoiler-free
spoilers.
recommendation. Yes, thank you so much for reading that. It was wonderful. Spoiler-free recommendation. I can go first unless anybody else has a strong urge to go first.
Go for it, girl.
I highly recommend this, especially to people who enjoy psychological horror and also monsters and the worlds that come along with the supernatural. And it's very interesting, and it's a very interesting critique about society and how we view people who are different, or even if they're like trying to live their life the same way. So that's all I'm gonna say. But I think it's a very interesting social critique, and I also think the characters are really great, and it's a very fascinating story and world that's been created. So I recommend it.
Yeah, man. I'll go next. I absolutely recommend it. As somebody who really enjoyed the anime, I enjoyed the manga more. So that's, I mean, I'll just throw that out into the world and let you take that for what it is. But I agree with Erin. It you feel like you know where it's going, and it winds up having a lot more to say, and kind of, I don't want to say a tongue-in-cheek way, but it definitely reflects things that are going on in the world right now, while sticking very much to the story and not being very preachy about it. It just makes you think a lot, while giving you some cool fights and some cool stuff like that. So that sounds like your bag. Go check it out.
Yeah.
I also recommend it. It was an interesting read. In comparison to the anime, I would say I enjoyed it more than the anime. I didn't really care too much about the middle part of the anime, but I'll say overall, as an experience, those 29 chapters were definitely miles ahead of what was given to us. So, yeah, definitely recommend it.
Cool. Yeah, I think my short version of the answer to that question would be if you watch the anime and for whatever reason it didn't resonate with you, I would definitely say still give the manga a shot anyway. For me, I tried to watch Tokyo Ghoul because I found it aesthetically really appealing, but for whatever reason it just wouldn't click for me, the show. And I think part of that was the art style and stuff, but I gave the manga a shot on Dodger's recommendation, and I came away from it really, there's a fan out there of Tokyo Ghoul in the street.
Tokyo
yeah.
Ghoul!
Yeah, that's me. That's my review, is one honk out of one. I really, really liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. There's a lot of I agree. It's very psychological. I think more psychological than an anime of this style could be, because you have so much more internal monologue and stuff. Yeah. It's the art style is just phenomenal. There's so much very kinetic, very visual, well communicated action. I've never really read a manga that looks exactly the way this looks before. Yeah, there's a million reasons that I'm sure we'll get into for why you should check it out, but my answer is yes.
Awesome.
One honk out of one.
One honk out of one.
Says Nick.
Awesome. So that is based off all of four of us. We believe you should definitely go and check out the manga. So if you do not want to be spoiled for what we're going to be talking about, then this is your opportunity to go and read the manga, and then you can come back and watch the VOD of this right here on my channel. It goes up immediately after we're done at 9 o'clock or something like that. So let's get into spoiler section.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Kaneki is gone?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to be
Kaneki
honest
did
with you right
nothing
now.
wrong. That's all I want to say.
Kaneki did nothing wrong,
Kaneki.
but also the reason that I went for Kaneki is because I remember his name, and the only other name that I remember from this, the character has not shown up yet. So
Mr. Manager is God.
Mr. Manager is
Mr.
God.
Manager is God.
Uta-san could be God.
Uta-san.
That's
Uta-san.
mask maker, tattooed, badass dude. He can
Yeah.
be God.
Yeah,
He is God.
I don't know if we
Can I
want to
say
start
some-
from the end and work backwards, but the final 5 pages of volume 3 of chapter 29 are just it's such a ridiculous left turn, and I'm I almost found myself questioning if it was even happening. Is this canonically how this character's arc is ending with a halo.
Yeah,
Yes.
with like a full on like you're just gonna get to go and party it up with ogres in hell.
In hell.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah, and hot tubs in hell.
Hell
Yeah.
looks pretty tight, by the way.
Same way. I felt the same way when I was reading it. I was like, what's happening right now? Am I suddenly reading Dragon Ball Z? Is this a crossover of Dragon Ball Z and Tokyo Ghoul? I don't know.
it was a very odd twist from the rest of what we had read. Which is
I found
very
myself going from really confused to really amused. It's just the end of it. It's just wonderful.
It's definitely played for laughs, right?
Oh,
yeah, no,
totally.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
That
so
dude.
funny.
That
But as serious as so much of the rest of that manga is.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you giving this to us so that we feel better? Like, I don't understand.
It's like, is this your attempt at lightening the horrors that have happened up to this point?
Oh my god.
Oh man. But yeah, so let's start with a question we tend to start with. What were your expectations before reading the manga? Because I think a lot of us had expectations going off of the anime.
The anime. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I would say a lot of people had told me that the manga is way better. And I already liked the anime. I will say season 2 and I are not clicking quite so well.
Yeah.
But season 1 I enjoyed for the most part. And so I was really excited because people said, you know what, the manga is actually better and the deviations happen fairly quickly, which I feel like we didn't really hit a lot of deviations from the anime and what we read of the manga, but yeah, I was really, really excited to read it, and I didn't feel like I was let down at all. So,
I would say that as someone that really didn't care for the anime as much, my expectations were really low. But within the first 3 chapters, those low expectations were subverted. Like, I really found myself drawn into the story, and I was really excited to continue just clicking through it. And I don't know, it's just as I read it, those low expectations were just completely turned on their heads, and it's just wonderful.
blown into the wind.
Yes,
Wonderful.
with blood and guts,
Right.
Yes,
Decapitation.
obviously. Yeah.
Which makes it even that much more wonderful.
I mean, it's funny. You're right. Like I think especially the first handful of chapters are basically shot for shot identical to the show that wound up coming out. But I think I kind of alluded to this earlier. But having his monologue, having what's going on in his head at all times, and actually it's not just him. It's kind of omniscient for every character, right? That just added a whole nother sort of level of not having to guess what this otherwise pretty prototypical quiet, timid, protag was thinking. Actually being inside his head, I think, kind of helped me a lot. And my expectations, I think, too, were kind of built on 2 things. One, the anime, like it was for all of us, I think, but also just seeing scans, like one-off pages on Tumblr and stuff of Tokyo Ghoul and being like, holy shit, that looks beautiful. Why am I not reading that instead of watching this show? So when I finally started doing it, I don't know if you guys read it on digitally, but I read it on my iPad, and I just found myself 2 or 3 times per chapter just taking screenshots of pages that were just beautifully laid out, and there would be times where you'd turn the page and be it takes you a second to register what you're looking at because it's so stylized, and it's funny. It's a stark contrast from the less actiony scenes, which are very straightforward. The action stuff is so kinetic and jagged and violent. I don't know.
Yeah,
I like
for
it.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I had actually really quick before I get into mine. Can I just point out that my dog Derp, there's a full bed right there, and he's laying in between the beds, wrapped around the other one, as my other dog licks his paw. I just felt like pointing that out because he.
It took me a while
there
to
he
actually
is.
find him. Oh, there he is.
There
Yep.
it is. Sorry, that made me laugh. But yeah, going into this, I had the same expectations as everybody else. I was expecting it to be very similar to the manga, and I had a lot of ups and downs with my feelings about the anime. But I had also heard from a lot of people that the manga was so much better than the anime, both in terms of pacing of the story, revelation of the plot, the character development, and straight off, I could see that immediately. Within 1 or 2 chapters, I was able to see what people were talking about because we were given so much more of Kaneki. Like, I was connected to... Really, this is going to be a tongue twister. I was connected to Kaneki. I was connected to Kaneki in the anime, but I felt that much more, like, stronger of a connection in the manga because we got to see just his process of it. Because the first episode... And I'm going to talk about the anime. I'm going to talk about the first episode of the anime. The first episode of the anime is like the first 2 or 3 chapters of the manga. And so they cut quite a bit out of his like inner monologue and also the slice of life stuff that we saw with him and Hide from the manga. And I really enjoyed that setup of it because it just gave us a little bit more of Kaneki. And so, yeah, my expectations were based off of the anime, but also based off of people telling me that the manga is that much better. And
yeah, I liked that we got a little bit of like normal happy human Kaneki before all of that just gets totally ripped away from him, right?
It made me a little bit jealous actually of people who like read this manga as it was first coming out, who maybe got to go into chapter 1 without like the knowledge of what was going to come, because it's so like I tried to think of it from that perspective as I was going through it, and it's such a hard right turn. And like it just turning, I think you would literally just be flipping back and forth, thinking like, wait, what is happening here? Like, I envy people who had that experience. I kind of wish I had never watched the anime and had just gone right into this.
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of got that experience from the anime, but like because I didn't know anything about the anime when I went into it. All I knew was that it was going to be a horror anime, and so. Yeah, when I watched the first episode, I was like, oh, because I was hoping it was going to happen, and then it totally happened, and I was like, yeah! But, like, the build-up, the way they built it up in the manga was way more, there was a lot more tact to it. It was more delicate, I felt like. It was more delicate up until the break, and then, you know. Yeah. And then it broke, and then everything was ruined forever.
And one thing I did like about how it was told was with the internal monologue that Nick brought up, or it's just something about it that made that theme of what it means to be human, or what is the correct path, like who is or what is Kaneki's identity. It made it stick out a lot more, and it made what would have been like the first or second episode of the anime just resonate that much more. So like the first 3 chapters just really started to stick out to me, that theme that really drew me in at first. There was just more behind it. And I just found myself enjoying it more because of it.
Yeah, I've never seen... I don't know. It just really struck how his line about if you were to write a story, it would definitely be a tragedy. A story about my life, it would definitely be a tragedy. I was like, oh my God. As you read more, you're like, it's so true. Yeah. It's so true. He's like the definition of a tragic character with everything that happens to him. I was like, oh, you poor baby.
Yeah, and I like that, and I liked this about the story regardless of the medium, but I liked that in Kaneki's search to be useful, he's had like glimpses of those moments where he's like, oh gosh, we get it. We love Tokyo Ghoul, we get it.
I tried to tell you guys, it's very popular manga in San Francisco. A lot of fans.
1 honk out of 1.
1 honk out of 1.
1 honk out of 1.
Always, every time. I like that in Kaneki's like effort to be useful and to help out with everything that's going on, because he's just, you know, he doesn't know how to fight, but he's trying to learn. And he doesn't know how to talk to people who are in positions of power like the doves are. So like he can't really approach them and be like, so guys, I'm like half ghoul. I would love to talk to you about ghoul-human relations, right? Like trying to figure out how to navigate all of that while also having these weird little glimpses of power that he's totally can't control and really never benefits him. Like it takes a long time for it to ever be beneficial that he has those moments, because like they always happen at inopportune times, or they happen for like a split second and then they're gone, you know? I like that he's not that main character who's just like, I'm gonna get really scared and then suddenly I'm gonna kill everybody. Yeah. How powerful am I?
Yeah, look how OP I've become for no reason.
Yeah, look how OP I am.
Look how OP I am.
It's been really funny like reading this for the first time while I'm still very much in the throes of watching Parasite. I feel like there's a lot of sort of parallels that keep popping up between the two. They just both sort of have that like dude who feels like maybe he's the only person in the middle of these two factions. Obviously there are things that set it apart, like how widespread the knowledge seems to be of ghouls, which is one of the things I actually really like about Tokyo Ghoul, regardless of the medium. Like the fact that this isn't the easy thing to do, I think would have been to make a piece of pseudo vampire fiction where they're having these secret lives, and while they do have secret lives, people know what ghouls are and talk about them. Like there's that one scene, and I can't remember any character's name, so bear with me. But there's a really public fight that happens. I think in chapter 2 or volume 2. And the way that Kaneki finds out about it is he's walking down the street and he hears people saying like, "Man, I wish I could have stuck around and watched that whole fight go down." It's like that's kind of refreshing to me in a way.
Yeah, with the mom. That's the fight with the mom. Between like Mato, Amon, and the mom, I think is her name.
Oh my god.
And the mom. That's her name.
That was sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her name.
But yeah,
sorry.
No, I was gonna agree with Nick and say like it is really refreshing that it's not just big secret nobody can know about it. It's like very well known knowledge, and seeing people be like just openly discussing it, but like kind of with a sense of nonchalance, even though they're these terrifying creatures, but just being like.
I think it's like a, you know, you never think it'll happen to you, but there's so many yous it happens to, sort of a situation where they're like, this is obviously happening to people, but, you know, I've never seen it, and it's never happened to me. I just know it's happening, so it feels kind of displaced from me. Yeah. But then that was like their moment of being like, oh my god, are they fighting a ghoul right now? And they got, you know, like shoved away. So they're like, oh my god, I gotta tell everybody. Yeah. There was a ghoul fight happening in the middle of the street, you know?
Kind of like it was like a celebrity tabloid or something.
Right, yeah. And that feels so much more true to life to me than like people just running screaming. Like I think in reality, if you saw something that like mind-blowing, you would there'd be a party that wanted to stick around from a safe distance and watch it. Like that feels like, I don't know, that was a refreshing piece of the universe for me for that reason.
Yeah, because people are really fascinated with the supernatural, for sure. Yeah. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I loved that. I loved and hated the whole thing with Mato killing the mom with the dad's. Shoot, what are those called?
It's like
Kagane.
Kagane. Yeah.
Kagane.
Killing the mom with the dad's Kagane, and then trying to kill the daughter with both parents, and then the daughter wound up having hers be a combination of both, and he was like, I don't even want these anymore, I want you. And I was like, this is so fucked up. Like, it's so messed up.
It was such a good reveal, because it was like you found out all those things at once. You found out that his weapon was actually from the father ghoul's power, and then you found out that the younger ghoul had one, and it was a combination of the two. Like, it was just I love that chapter. Because it felt like every 2 pages there was like a crazy reveal about the nature of the universe and about this girl and it just like that was one where I just got to the end of it and I was like, wow, that felt like it was 30 seconds of reading. Like it just went by so quickly.
Yeah, and seeing the difference between Mato being so violent and yet, you know, calling all ghouls monsters and disgusting and all these things, and then having the daughter, you know, acting out of emotion but really not wanting to hurt anybody, just being like, I just want to, like, I miss my parents, like that's it, you know. Like it's a very like really driving home that they have extremely human emotions. They're just stuck in a bad situation with their genetics, like who they are, you know.
Do y'all feel like Mato was a hard character, and maybe it's just because he's just the ugliest anime character I've ever seen in my life, but I struggled with how he almost felt like, compared to the rest of the universe, he almost felt like borderline ridiculously evil. Like literally every sentence that came out of Homeboy's mouth was just like, oh, this sentence was just written to be the most fucked up thing he could say in this situation. Like always.
I would say more than anything, I think that lends itself to understanding that what is considered evil is a matter of perspective, because for the humans in that universe, Mato was a hero. Mato was someone that protected humans from ghouls. Whether he was eccentric or not, he still was good at his job. But yeah, I mean, I will agree that he said some really fucked up stuff.
Really?
Yeah, because like with the woman at the CCG, right? When they were like, "But she's just a little girl. Why do you want to kill her?" And she was like, "Because they want to kill humans, so
I
we have
love
to
that.
destroy all of them." You know, just like really happily. And I was totally willing to be like, this woman has obviously not actually dealt with ghouls. You know, like that becomes very obvious in that situation. But with Mato has like talked to those ghouls.
Right.
He's interacted with those ghouls. He's seen a mother ghoul like sacrifice herself for her daughter, and he's still just like, I hate it when you guys imitate humans. It's so gross.
Right.
I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
To me, it's what's way scarier is the woman who just like sort of mindlessly is just like, oh yeah, no, fuck, like they're not people. It doesn't matter. They're not real. Like that to me is a more scary and interesting type of evil, right? Because like she doesn't know better. She would have no way of knowing that like ghouls were people or ghouls are people too. Like whereas he's been confronted with so much evidence of it, and the fact that he will just say to a ghoul, like I almost hope, even though it feels like his arc is over, I almost want to know how he got that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it felt like he was directly confronted with evidence of ghouls' humanity time and time and time again, and he just brushed it off every time. He'd just be like, I'm done listening to you. He said that like 3 times. I'm done listening to you talk. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he had no sense of empathy whatsoever. So it's like, what? Did something happen to you for you to get this fucked up? And like this like hard towards ghouls? Or what is your like backstory?
He might, in the end, honestly, just be a vessel for some of the things that we know Amon is going to go through. Like, because he's worked with Mato for so long, like, looks up to him, sees him as this father figure, especially in this business that he's in. But, you know, we even saw with the conversation with Kaneki, he's like, what was that all about? Like, he asked the questions that Mato never ever had any interest in asking. And so that war there in his mind, I think partially has to do with Mato being in his life. And that might be, you know, a big part of the reason why he was ever there, you know, is to establish like that impact that he could have had on Emon.
I was relieved to find out that Emon was also found Mato very off-putting the first time he met him. Because that's basically what all of Chapter 9 is dedicated to, is like kind of retelling their first meeting, and Amon just being like, I don't really, man, really? I gotta work with this dude? Like, for real?
Yeah, he's just like, Yeah, he's, man, a lot of people in chat are saying, they're not spoiling, but they're saying, don't worry, motivations are like very legit in Tokyo Ghoul. So hopefully like we do get something else in the future with him.
Cool.
But yeah. He's messed up, dude. I was feeling genuine rage towards him numerous times with what he was saying. I was like, they got humanity. Open your eyes, you D-wad. Like, just be nice. Why can't you be kind? I don't understand. It's a very frustrating world. It was a very frustrating world. And that's not with just him, but just with, I don't know. I always find stories very fascinating because it's a very very common theme and like reoccurring theme for are these people actually monsters, or are humans just like really obnoxious and the real monsters? Yeah. And so it's a very common theme, especially in supernatural psychological horrors. But it's still like here it's very interesting to see because we spend so much time with the ghouls, and the fact that there's a ton of different like flavors of ghouls too. Like some are just out there to like go on murder sprees and kill, but then you have all of these good ones who are like almost good, but like what is good? And so it's a very interesting world to see and culture to learn.
Yeah, I think it's the type of thing that would have been really easy to do wrong or do in a way that was like cheesy and done to death. Of like, oh no, there are people too, but like you point out, like basically half of ghouls, probably more than half of ghouls, are pretty monstrous, and it's something that we see Kaneki like personally struggle with a lot. He's like, maybe the investigators are kind of doing the right thing. Like he pretty much says that to Emon at one point. It's a relief to have a protagonist who isn't like he has a nuanced perspective on it for like a million reasons.
He's not just taking up the flag for the cause without, you know, and just discarding everything that he's known his entire life.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, his struggle is very interesting to watch unfold, too, because he's, I do like right off that we have the manager telling him, well, you are the only person that has two places that you belong. Like, giving that like, other perspective on it. And to see him, like, in his fight against Amon, like, how he's interpreting that and how that's slowly changing how he perceives stuff is really, really cool to see. And, like, his fight with Amon I really liked because he wasn't turning full on Ghoul, even though he could feel himself losing that control, but he still had enough control to kind of, like, implant the seed into Amon's brain that maybe not every single Ghoul is the same.
Yeah. And also just, I couldn't really tell if this was part of the plan, but I liked that he took the time to show Amon, like, look, I'm obviously powerful. Like, you can tell that I'm pretty powerful, and I'm also not that, I don't have that much finesse, but I'm still gonna stand here, like, on the brink of killing you and ask you to, like, run away.
Yeah.
Like, and I liked that because that was kind of his, like, a very specific way of saying, I could destroy you right now, but I don't want to. Like, I really don't want to kill someone, so please run away.
Yeah.
And I hope that we see Amon questioning that more and, like, reflecting back on that more, even though the whole time he was walking away, he was like, it's just a Ghoul, I'll forget it, it's fine.
Yeah, he was kind of like,
like,
he was in denial about it. He was like, he's like, that goes against everything that Mato has told me and everything that I've experienced, so there's no way, like, that...
He speculated, I think the wording he uses is, it was probably just some sort of Ghoul's trick. Like, he thought it was all, he even picked up that it might have been deliberate and might have been, I mean, which is half true, right? Like, part of it was that he wanted to demonstrate Ghoul humanity to Amon, but I think a lot of it was very real. Like, Kaneki, if I remember right, cries in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
which
crying,
He,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
sobs.
I have a physical mute button that I had to like lunge for.
You did well.
You did real good.
It worked out perfectly.
The investigators.
Gaming for Less in the chat brought up Kaneki's struggle with his hunger. We haven't really touched on that. What were your guys' thoughts on how that was depicted and how that was shown?
I love how coffee is one of the few things you could consume.
Yeah.
Like, I love coffee.
Blood
I'm a
sugar.
big coffee fan.
I'm a big... Yeah, I know. I think
Okay.
it's so funny that of all the things that ghouls can consume from humans, it's coffee.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense in a weird way, and because it's not really food, right? Like, it's just water with something added to it. Like, in some weird way, it makes sense in my head that it's like, of course, coffee would be the exception because it already tastes gross. I drink coffee all the time, but there's a version in my head I'm like, yeah, just bitter beans that aren't technically humanoid food. Of course, that would work the same for ghouls. And I think another thing that's cool about the way they deal with the hunger stuff that they don't really do in the anime is the way they use, like, visual metaphors to depict how gross it is for him.
Yeah.
Like, they're able to do these cutaways where they just literally help you visualize what this tastes like for him. And I felt like it was a lot more tangible and relatable in that regard. Because rather than just him spitting it out or barfing or telling us that it's gross, he's like these very specific, like, it tastes like it's got the texture of clay and, like, just stuff like that really help hit home that sandwiches are now horrible to him.
Yeah. Or, like, puked up cheese was one of them or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, it's, like, very disgusting. You're able to visualize it. You, like, kind of taste it like, oh, God, yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah, I was actually eating while I was reading that chapter. It was
Bad
my
choices.
timing was not
Bad
very
choices.
good on that.
Actually, Knickers in the chat is asking, did you guys crave coffee more while reading this? I definitely drank coffee while
Yes.
reading Tokyo Ghoul a couple of times.
Yeah, I was like, man, I could go from some Starbucks right now. Get some Starbucks.
Look, it all comes together. It's like you're bridging the gap between you and Kaneki. You can truly see what he sees.
If I drink enough coffee, I'll become Kaneki's friend.
I thought you were gonna say you'll become a ghoul, and I was like, it doesn't work that way, Aaron.
I'll become a
That's
ghoul.
not how this
Right.
works.
Guys, I need to drink more coffee. I'm a ghoul. This manga's taught me nothing.
I'm pretty lucky that that's not how it works, because I have a problem where whenever I watch the show Hannibal, I have to eat during it, which is not a good precedent to set psychologically.
Like, no, but I get it, right? Like, because the way that Hannibal prepares food makes you so hungry, and you're like,
Yeah.
it's people, but it looks delicious.
It looks pretty good.
I get you.
Yeah.
Well, that was something that was with the Kaneki not being able to eat his food. It was like being on a diet, but to the extreme. Just being like, oh, I can't eat that. But for him, he gets his favorite food, and I just was trying to visualize my favorite food ever, and I was like, okay, steak and French fries. Now imagine if they brought me my favorite steak and French fries from some place, and then I'm eating it, and it's just the most foul, disgusting tasting thing in the world. I was like, that would be
cry.
That would be so heartbreaking.
It's kind of the most heartbreaking part of Ghoul life to me, I feel like. That's the tough thing to, like, transitioning to eating people, that's whatever, but not being able to eat, like, a Cinnabon is pretty, like, that's too much. I feel like.
Yeah, but what if people taste like Cinnabon?
See, that now
And,
that you're onto something.
Oh,
And like Kaneki is the only ghoul in the world who's had to deal with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
Like enjoying real food, like human food, and then suddenly having it ripped away from him. Like every other ghoul in the world grew up just being like, we don't eat that shit. You know? But for Kaneki, he's like, no, but I associate all of these foods with different things and different people and different, like, you know, you feel that heartbreak when he thinks about, you know, sitting and eating with Hide and just being
Yeah.
like, I need to be able to pretend I enjoy this so that I can have those moments again. And I'm just like, oh God, Kaneki.
yeah, because there's like
So bad for him.
it's not just the taste of food that comes along with your favorite food. It's like the feelings with it, the comfort that comes along with it, and just everything that's being ripped away from him. The imagery and the descriptions and everything about when those scenes were happening, like even the ones where he was rushing just to eat anything and possibly eat anything and just kept vomiting. It was just so intense, and you could just feel his like hurt and his anguish happening during that, because it was just, for such a thing, you're just like, oh, he's eating and puking, to put it simply, but for such like a simple thing, it was one of the most heartbreaking parts in the manga for me. To just
It's
see
also
him
handled
using that.
like it's handled so tastefully too. I think compared to the anime, I've
Sorry, I
like
didn't know if that was
no pun intended, I guess. But like I kind of felt like you maybe it's because we didn't have to hear him vomiting, and that's a very visceral thing to have to listen to.
Yeah.
But just like the way that they frame him, like in his apartment, like trying different foods and having it not work out, is just so like they say a lot without having to say very much, and I appreciated that. Although I do think both the manga and the anime did a great job of contrasting his misery about food with his extreme relief when he finds out that he can drink coffee.
Yeah.
That to me is such a nice, because it's one of the few wins the homeboy ever gets in his like entire life, and it's such a nice moment. You're just like, oh, I'm happy for you. I'm glad you get this one pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when I think like right before he has coffee for the first time, we saw him just kind of like walking through the streets going, something smells amazing, and it's a dead person, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, Kaneki, your life sucks now. I don't know what to tell you. And then you get that win, you know, after he goes through all sorts of shit. But, you know, he finally gets to drink coffee, and he's just like,
So happy, he's crying.
so happy. Yeah.
It's like, poor baby. It's like, I never felt so sorry for a character before. Just as it happens. I'm like, the first time he goes on a date, she tries to eat him. And then, then gets her organs transplanted into him, and becomes this monster society hates, and he can't eat food anymore. It was like, oh, you poor babe.
Oh, honey.
Honey.
Yeah.
Here, let's talk about, what did you guys think about Riza? What did you think about the lovely Riza? We didn't get too much of her, but she had a very everlasting impact on the story.
So far, she was okay with it. Like, she hasn't really done much, like you said, but I don't know. It's just, I like who she was presenting at first, and I like who she becomes later, but from what we read, I mean, she's okay.
Yeah.
I'm liking the other girl more. I don't remember her name.
Toka-chan?
Yeah,
Toka.
Toka-chan.
Yeah.
I like how she's kind of crazy and is okay with killing people.
Yeah.
I like
That's brownie
that.
points.
Yeah.
I like that not only, like, you know, we have the whole interaction with Rize, right? And she dies very early on. Spoiler, she dies very early on, right?
Spoiler alert.
And then Kaneki winds up with her organs and he feels terrible. But I like that we don't get to leave Rize behind. That she kind of lives on through that and affects him in weird ways, and he has weird memories of her. And I like that she's this ghost that's haunting him that kind of represents everything that's happened to him and who he has to be now.
Yeah.
And who he doesn't want to be at all.
She's kind of the perfect person to transplant into him because she was such an unapologetic ghoul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such a, like, that's the perfect representation of how I think Kaneki feels when, like, the hunger is taking him over, you know what I mean? Like, you see the sort of craziness in him every once in a while that she had in that first chapter. Or first couple chapters.
And you also see that, in contrast, how much he wants to fight against that insanity.
Yeah.
Like when he took the knife to his kidneys.
Yeah.
And he's trying to cut out his own organs.
Yeah. Oh,
And
God.
it just
Yeah,
spent-
that's right. He even tried to commit suicide and he couldn't even get that. Poor Kaneki.
Playing off of that, there's something that really bothered me that I realized as I was reading through this. And it has to do with mask guy, Uta. And it's
With
the
that.
fact that he... All right, yeah, God. No. His tattoos and his piercings.
I want them.
Oh, I see where this is going.
In
Were
relation,
they in
like
different
Kaneki...
places?
No, it's just...
Oh, okay.
It's just, like, Kaneki tried to stab himself at full force and couldn't do anything. Yet,
Right.
this guy is covered with ink.
Right.
He's been repeatedly injured, and that was just something that stuck out to me, and
Maybe
kind of bothered me. I love his design, though.
Oh my god, I love his character.
He's so hot. He's
He
so
must
hot.
so
There
hot.
must be a way, right?
He's
there
so
must be a way.
sexy.
And
Maybe he's got like clip-ons or something, like magnetic.
It's actually just like fake. Everything is
Yeah.
fake.
he draws
It's
it on.
henna,
Okay.
basically.
It's
Just
henna.
henna tattoos.
I did wonder because the designs on his hand are actually like they're very Indian in nature. So I wondered if they were henna tattoos. I do remember thinking about that, but they don't give you a reason to believe that they're henna tattoos.
Yeah. Guys, just really quick in chat, just remember, no alluding to anything that may happen later on either. Don't tell us the characters may suck later on. Don't tell us we'll find out this and this. Just please don't.
Yeah, you're the worst.
Please don't.
Hey, chat, you're the worst. Don't be rotten bacon butts.
Don't be rotten bacon butts. Oh man, it's been forever since we've said that.
It's been a while,
Don't be
but I
rotten bacon butts.
think you guys need a reminder.
Yeah. Rotten bacon butts are our term for people who spoil things, and it's a very something you don't want to be. So,
Gotcha.
don't be a rotten
is-
bacon butt.
It is a very something you don't want to be.
A very something you don't want to be.
It's a very something. Tell you what.
It sounds like how
Let
Kaneki
me
would
tell ya,
describe food.
I didn't even use my cutesy voice for that one.
It's a very something.
I'm growing.
Speaking of like Uta was awesome, but like I think speaking of characters who
Oh, what?
Oh, no, Nick.
I thought that was just a dramatic pause.
Me too.
Pausing for effect. Oh, there we go.
Oh, Nick.
all right, am I back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. But Uta was one of those characters who I was always excited to see. Another one of those for me was the manager Yoshimura.
Yes.
The sort of manager of the diner, like, because he was like, I think like Coffee, actually. He was like the one ray of sunshine. He was the one positive force. When Kaneki was like, I don't fit in anywhere, he was the dude who was like, actually, you kind of fit in better in the human world than we do, and you're a ghoul. Like, he was like the one smiling face in basically the entire manga, and he was always like awesome to have around, I feel like.
He was
Yeah,
the
even
ray
when
of sunshine.
Kaneki went out with Yomo to grab bodies.
Yeah.
Like, Yomo was like, look, we do this because the manager wants us to do this. Like, if we're being honest, Toka, me, all of us still go out and kill people. Like, it's just, it's a thing. But like, the manager insists on them doing that for the people who can't hunt for themselves. I was like, oh, manager.
I know, what a sweetie.
Yeah.
Killing so people don't have to.
Well, no, they committed suicide.
That's true. Finding the
Ain't
people who
killed
commit
them.
suicide
Finding
so
bodies.
others don't have to.
I think that was
Coffee.
it's kind of an edge case though, because like I wonder, it seemed like that fence being loose kind of, I don't know, like Kaneki falls down there on accident, right? I don't think all the people there are necessarily jumping on purpose. I think it's kind of just like a whoops, we found this broken fence and people fall down here a lot, and we kind of keep putting it back and like letting people fall.
They keep
It's kind
like
of-
unscrewing the fence just a little bit.
Yeah,
I never thought of that. That's
it's
really
like
funny.
it's like sixth degree murder. I feel like it's, maybe I'm using that scale wrong, but it's kind of an edge case. It's not as innocent as I think I first interpreted it to be.
Right.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because I did wonder, because Yomo was like, yeah, we always get rid of the bodies so nobody knows that anybody's committed suicide here. And I was like, then why would people continue to commit suicide at that exact spot?
Yeah.
Unless, like, they wouldn't do it unless there was some sort of a reputation for that being, like, a suicide cliff, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. It
Maybe
seemed
the view
weird.
is nice.
Maybe the view
Maybe
is
it's
just
a
so
really
beautiful.
nice view.
Yeah.
I mean, he does say, like, the humans don't know about this spot yet because we always clean it up right away, right?
Yeah.
Which I think sort of contributes to the theory of it being an accident spot as well as maybe a suicide spot.
They committed suicide.
Yeah.
They fell.
They fell, exactly.
10th degree murder. God.
Just going to... Okay, let's talk about Toka. We mentioned her briefly, but she's been a pretty important character. So what are you guys' thoughts on Toka? Toka-chan?
She a badass. I really like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's like you can tell she's in a way struggling with what it means to be a ghoul herself, but she's more or less accepted that she has to do what she has to do to survive. Mm-hmm. Like she's in a position that Kaneki needs to reach if he's going to continue surviving.
Yeah.
So
but at the same time, I love her a lot. I also love that she makes like pretty big mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And she
like
always
the doves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was so dumb. And she knew, like, you could tell when she came back, she was like, that was so dumb. Why did I even do that? You know, but she just has a lot of feelings. You know, she cares a lot about people and she wants to do what she thinks is justice. And I find her character very interesting in that way. I don't know that I want Kaneki to be like that, but I like that we have Toka to be there, being kind of like that hard ass who's also willing to do literally whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. Like make the ultimate sacrifice to make sure that justice is served in her eyes. You know, she's interesting that way.
It's funny too, because she, and I hope this is something that, like, I don't know, it gets played with a little bit in both the manga and the show, but she's the one who Hide has a crush on initially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's so funny because, like, it happens both to Hide and to Kaneki where they meet a girl, make these vast, utterly wrong assumptions about what this girl is like, just project all their stupid fantasies onto this girl, and they couldn't be more wrong. And they both did it. There's a nice symmetry to that.
Yeah.
It's true.
No wonder they're besties.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, I mean, you shouldn't like push your fantasies on other people because it could go horribly wrong.
Yeah, because it could turn out that they're a cannibal.
They could eat you.
Or a ghoul.
Badly,
depending on the world.
There is a line
or a good way. Look, you know what? Go for it.
Sure. Yeah, maybe.
What are we saying?
I feel like I'm trying to remember exactly where it was, but I remember there was one part in the manga that we read where one ghoul made an allusion to ghouls. It was, you know who? It was Uta. He makes a mention of like ghouls being cannibals, or he's like some ghouls practice cannibalism, but I don't.
Yeah.
Like, do you want me to eat you or whatever? And it's like that to me is interesting in its own right because I'm first of all, ghoul meat works to feed them. That's news to me. Mm-hmm. But also like, what would drive a ghoul to eat another ghoul with like territory disputes? Like what? I don't know. It hinted at, I feel like, a section of this world that we haven't seen yet in a way.
Yeah, and like we got a taste for the territory wars too. That there's obviously a lot going on with that. There's just so much that we don't know about yet. Even though I feel like we've gotten so much information, like every time we learn something, there's just something else that comes up for us to learn and have questions about.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Trying to think.
We can talk about art.
Yeah, we should talk about art. We're coming up. We're just past 45 minutes, so we should talk about art. And then if we have any other things somebody wants to bring up. So.
I will say every now and then, the art got real squirrely, and specifically with Mado. I feel like there were a lot of shots with Mado where I was like, "What's happening to your hand?" or like, what is going on with your whole body?" Like, sure, the crazy eyes, intentional for sure.
Yeah.
I couldn't always tell if like one finger looking like maybe it's as thin as a popsicle stick was intentional.
I wish I had a better way to share this with you guys, but there's the only screenshot that I took that was like kind of a joke one is, I think this is the first time he eats human meat, but he makes this face. Let's see. That face right there. And like that stuck with me for some reason. Like I don't know why, but it's just like this totally otherwise normal man like panel. This normal moment, and then he's just like
Suddenly just like
That's
high.
his. That's his. Oh my god, this is delicious face.
Oh,
Yes,
that's his.
exactly.
That's his what's the term? Break face?
Break face.
It's his
That's
break
his break
face.
face.
Yeah.
It is. It's his break
It's
face.
his break face, guys.
Oh,
my
but just
God.
okay. I have actually
Don't go
another
look
one
that
here.
up.
Don't.
So the scene where he's trying to talk himself out of, I look really spooky with like this, I'm telling a ghost story. But when he's trying to talk himself out of eating hide, and the way that it's illustrated in the manga is like he's sitting in front of a plate of food with hide just laying there on it, and it's like it's stuff like that.
I love that
like,
panel.
It's such a great panel. I love it too. And it's the type of thing that I don't think you can necessarily do in the anime without totally breaking like the flow of that scene.
Yeah.
But it adds so much. Like it's such a great way to. It's just such a literal metaphor. You know what I mean? I love having stuff.
It was like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
right.
It's like when they get really hungry and they turn into a giant drumstick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Now, I really like the art. I mean, for the most part, it was really, really good. There were those instances where things did look a little bit iffy, like in terms of proportions and consistency within character designs. But overall, I would say it's pretty polished. It's one of the more polished ones that I've read here on MangaPod thus far. Mm-hmm. So yeah, of the five, I'm new.
And
I'm
like
still new.
4 of those were older too.
Yeah. No, but it looked pretty good. I would say it's on par with its art with a Kamiga Kill. They're about on par, I would say.
Yeah. Well, that person agrees with you.
How they
One
should.
rev out of one.
There were times where I really liked the art, and then there were times where I didn't like the art as much. Was that me? Did anybody else hear
What?
that? The
What?
like Windows sound? Was that just me? Okay, never
The
mind.
computer
I
sound?
think it was just you.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear it.
Oh, that was weird. I heard doo-doo-doo.
Everybody who's watching probably heard it.
Yeah, okay,
But
so
we
I'm not
couldn't hear
crazy.
it.
Unless nobody else hears it and they're like, ah. So yeah, there were times where I really loved the art, and then there were also times where I didn't. Like, there definitely seemed to be some like symbolism and a lot of detail into certain moments, but then there were other moments where I had Attack on Titan flashbacks of not quite being able to understand exactly what's going on and having to give a little bit more time to certain panels, specifically during a lot of the action stuff. There was just a lot that felt a little bit more muddled to me, but I liked the overall style, that the style was pretty consistent, like no matter like what the scene, it was a very consistent style. So there were times where I was like, maybe it's more intentional. And also like the proportions were off a little bit for me, but there were also times where I thought it was really beautiful. Like with the, what are their powers called again?
Kagane.
The Kagane.
Kagane, yeah.
Kagane. Like during that, I thought was really pretty. And during some of like, with Kaneki's internal disputes and his, with like the hunger part, I thought was really fitting for it and gave it just a little bit more of the edge for the horror style too. Like I didn't want it to be super, I don't think it would work as well if it was super clean for like, in my opinion, super clean and pretty and detailed. Like I think for the story that it's telling and the emotions that's going on, that it works really well with the world.
I would say that the art. Oh, go ahead, Dodger. Go ahead.
I have to pee so bad. I'm gonna like pee everywhere. I'm so
I'm glad
sorry.
I let you go.
I'm gonna like run and pee and come
Run
back.
and pee.
It's
Run and
gonna
pee.
like 1 second. It's
Okay.
like 1 second.
Okay, you got it. Lou?
All right.
What were you gonna say?
Almost. All right. Oh, the gore was really well handled. I like
Yes.
how like the decapitations that did occur and dismemberment was all really well done.
That
You guys
made me
remember,
feel like...
Remember when
One thing-
Glasses Detective died? That's a great example of what we were
Yes.
talking about. And it's just
Yeah.
like, there's so many moments where they just show the exact millisecond that somebody or some body part gets sliced and just it hangs there. The way that that's handled is really excellent, I
Yeah,
thought.
the gore, because that's something that was horrible with the anime, was the censorship. The censorship in the anime was hella bad. It was so bad. And so I knew going into the manga that it wasn't going to be censored because manga rarely is in terms of gore. And so getting to just see that happen, because gore is one of my favorite things in the entire world. So getting to see like the decapitations and people eating each other and just the blood everywhere and people getting chopped up, I was like, yes, this is what I wanted from a horror story. I don't want like a weird filter covered all over everything or black lines. I want just blood gushing everywhere. And that's what, it was really good. It was, welcome back. Hi. Yeah, I just loved, the gore was really great. It was very creative too. Like even the decapitation part, there's a lot of time where it can get very repetitive in terms of, oh, I've seen this exact same thing before. And even though a lot of it was like, oh, I've seen something similar to it before, it's still with the style felt different, I guess.
I do, to your point earlier, though, about occasionally getting lost, I feel like there are scenes where if I hadn't watched the anime beforehand and known what was happening going into it, I probably would have gotten confused. Like, I think the fight with Nishio is a great example of, like, yes. I already sort of had, like, a layout, like a blueprint in my head of what's going to go down in that scene. But if I had been going into that for the first time without the show, there would genuinely have been parts that I can admit where I would have been like, I'm not, what, wait, what, who just hit, who, like, what happened? Like, I kind of lost track a couple times. It's kind of the downside, I feel like, of some of that super kinetic action.
It took me a second to realize that he had thrown up on Hide. I was like, okay, he dirtied it. Did he puke on? Okay, he puked on Hide. Okay, I get it.
The hint for me was like there was a sound, like a very tiny sound effect that had been translated just like splat or something. It was like, oh, okay, it's like on. All right, cool.
Okay, great, got it. Yeah, we didn't talk about Hide at all. Dodger, talk about the art. Your feelings about art.
Oh, I already did.
Oh, did? Oh, yeah, you did.
Oh, I have one last thing to talk about the art. One last little detail I want to mention. The only thing that I'll give the anime over the manga is the Kagane. Because
I was literally going to say that. The colors of the Kagane are like, mwah. They look amazing. Especially Toka's. Toka's like big butterfly wing thing. Looks so good.
Yes.
Okay, I'm done.
So pretty. But yeah, we didn't talk about, sorry, we're coming up on an hour, but I was going to say we didn't quite touch on Hide or Nishinoya. We didn't really talk about them at all. So anybody has any quick feelings about them? Otherwise, we can jump into final thoughts and ratings.
When I was watching the anime, Nishi came across so violent, and somehow in the manga, he came across even worse.
Yeah.
like noticeably a worse person than in the anime, and I was like, wow, they like actually toned him down a little bit or made him like even a little more likable. He was just the worst in this.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I kind of enjoy that. And then Hide, I just love Hide. I want Hide. Well, you know what I want so bad? I just want Hide. Chat, I swear to God, if you even say something like, "Oh, don't you just love how they always foreshadow things that way?" Wink, wink. I'll kill you.
They're too busy shipping me with people, so it's okay.
Yeah, Lou is getting shipped with all of the people.
Yeah, pretty much.
All I want in the world is for Hide to be like, "Dog, I know you're a ghoul," and then Kaneki to be like, "Really?" And Hide to be like, "Yeah, man. Let's bro hug." And be like, "Okay." And then they'll bro hug. Best friends forever. Wake up the next day like nothing ever happened.
Yes!
That's all I want in the world. And then they can just like sit and have coffee together. And like Hide will be like, "So it's like being a ghoul." And Kaneki will be like, "It fucking sucks." And they'll just, he lost his best friend in all of this kind of because he can't be honest anymore.
Yeah. And
just like something that I think was really obvious about Hide in the manga that I didn't pick up on watching the anime is that in the anime, my memory of him was that he was just kind of a pretty run-of-the-mill, like, dumb friend guy. And in the manga, it's a point that they really go to their way to hit home is that he's actually extremely perceptive. Like, he can be mistaken as kind of a dumb guy, and he's maybe not conventionally super smart, but he picks up on, like, every little thing. Like, every time one of his friends is, like, feeling off. There are actually flashbacks that illustrate that, like, he has memories of like Hide picking up on it when he didn't feel right that day. I love the way that's handled in the manga. They really go to their way to make that point.
Yeah. Just
I'm just like there's so much like street traffic that I'm like trying to cut it off at the exact right moment.
That was amazing.
A
Okay,
for effort.
I'm gonna do the opposite of a spoiler finger, kind of. I'm gonna put my finger up because I have something that I feel is going to happen, but I really don't want to happen. But I feel like if I say it and it is going to happen, chat's gonna be like, ooh. So chat, if you have read the manga,
Speculation
if you have
fingers.
read the manga, remove your headphones right now. Step away from the keyboard. Because I swear to God, like Dodger said, I will destroy you if you confirm or deny this for me.
I'm actually gonna just cover up the chat window
Yes,
right now. With
I
this.
know.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay, I'm gonna just go over here. Give them a few seconds. Give them a moment. I'm terrified. I'm terrified Hide's gonna die. I'm so scared.
Me too.
Same.
I'm so scared.
Actually gonna eat Hide one day.
I just feel like something horrible is going to happen to him because I feel like what's gonna happen is the thing that Dodger says is gonna happen, and then the next day he's gonna die, and it's just gonna break my heart.
Or something like Kaneki's gonna be like on the verge of death, and then he's just gonna be like, bro, it's okay, go ahead.
No!
Oh, that's great. I hope that's what happens
No!
now. It's too perfect. It's too perfect. It's just that would be so beautiful. I want that. For them.
No,
so sad.
No, that'd be so sad. Okay, I'm gonna put my finger down now. Chat.
Oh my God, that would be sorry.
No, what? No, I can wait. I can keep my finger up.
That would be kind of like those vampire romance novels where it's like there's the vampire and then there's the human, right? And the human's like, eat of me, and the vampire's like, no. And
I
the
would
human's
say
like,
he
"Do it."
is the Sookie Stackhouse of Tokyo Ghoul. No doubt about it.
Everybody wants him.
Everybody wants a
Nobody
piece of
can have
him.
Oh God.
Amazing.
Yep. Okay.
I'm gonna put that
I'm
down
done.
now. Okay, non-spoiler finger has been put away. Still not looking at the chat. Okay. So, let's wrap up and give our final thoughts and ratings. Does anybody want to go first?
Oh, I'm trying to think of my
I know.
numbers.
I don't know what my number should be.
Wait, real quick. What's the scale?
1 to 10, or whatever your feelings are.
Okay,
Or,
one
I
out
mean,
of one honks. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 out of 1
I
honk.
don't want to honk if you want.
No one wants to go.
All of us were just like,
I'm not sure.
8. I'm gonna give mine an 8
Okay.
because actually, come back to me.
Are you
Okay, I'll go. I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Oof.
And my reason for giving it an 8 is because it exceeded my expectations. It was a solid manga. It had a lot of really interesting things going for it, and it has a lot of room to grow. And there were just some really interesting moments. The gore was on point. I love gore. And I don't know. The last few pages really did it for me. Like the last few pages of chapter 29. Just that from how out of nowhere it was, I legitimately laughed. And I appreciate that. So 8.
I appreciate that bit of humor.
Damn right.
Yeah, I'll copy that. There's another term that I wanted, but I couldn't figure out what it was. I agree, concur. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because it did exceed my expectations. I thought it was a really well-written story for what we've read, and that the universe that's been created is incredibly fascinating and doesn't feel oversaturated or reused at all. Like, I think it's even though it's a recurring theme, it's a very interesting take on it, and the fact that we're learning so much about so many different characters on both sides of the world is also really neat. And that the characters we have been introduced to, specifically Kaneki, just seeing his struggle and how well presented that was is incredibly impressive writing to me. And so I have to give that like mad props. And I feel like we haven't even touched on anything concerning what he's going to be going through. Like, I feel like the last fight with Amon was just a little taste about what's going to be happening. So there's so much room for it to grow, and there's just so much stuff that I'm excited to see happen. And just based off of a few anime things, like characters that I'm really excited to see that we didn't get to see in these chapters, but whatever. And so yeah, like the art was sometimes hit or miss for me, but I did think overall it worked really well for the tone and atmosphere of the story it was trying to tell. And I thought it was a really well done psychological tale that we like, a very mature psychological tale. It doesn't feel dumbed down or like, it feels very for the demographic, which is, it's a seinen manga, and so knowing that it's seinen, like, it feels like it hits that demographic really well, and that's just really refreshing to see in a manga, is to see something more mature. And yeah, I thought it was fantastic, and I can't wait to read more because I feel like it's gonna keep getting better and better.
Okay, I'll go. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 because I know. I'll pack my bags and leave.
Get out!
Because obviously I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought that it was better than the anime, but because we didn't have as many deviations, nothing was able to surprise me yet.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to those surprises. So I'm giving it a 7.5 with the intention of us reading it more and the rating growing, right? But for the elements of the manga that I got to experience for the first time and really take in and enjoy, I would give it a 7.5.
Awesome.
But I did love it. I think you all should read it if you haven't read it. Why are you still here if you didn't read it? What were you thinking?
Okay.
You should have left when we told you to.
So, first of all, I'm relieved to know that there are like half points on the scale. I didn't realize that it was that granular.
Oh no, like you can do like a 7.62345.
Yeah.
All right.
You can give it pi if you want.
A blue out of rainbow.
A blue out of rainbow.
I like that. I mean, I feel like I already perfected the scale at the top of the show with the honks thing, so I don't want to break away from that if I don't have to. I was relieved about to hear that we don't just have to like lock in a number, because I feel like I'm waffling between a 7 and an 8 for it. I think like it's so, the thing that kept me reading it, I think, was the aesthetics and atmosphere and artwork. It's so visually like beautiful. And there's just so much to like there. I feel like it's a little tropey sometimes. I feel like it's a little like, there are things about it that feel like run-of-the-mill seinen in certain ways. I think Kaneki is more interesting than I thought he'd be, but he's still not my favorite like manga protagonist in the world. But there's so much to like, and I feel like for an anime that kind of failed to grab me, this is exactly what I hoped it would be, which is better execution of those core ideas. Like, it's visually beautiful, and that's what's keeping me reading it. Is there every single chapter I read had at least 1 or 2 panels where I was like, this is a spectacular piece of visual art. Lots of like super dark blacks and dark ink, and lots of like stark black and white contrast. It's really beautiful, and I think it's worth reading for that reason, in addition to it just being a well-told, interesting story about a really like pretty unique universe.
Awesome. Yeah, so we all recommend it and think you should definitely go check it out if you haven't, and we will definitely be revisiting this manga for sure. And Nick, hopefully you will come back and join us the next time.
Yeah.
Happily.
Yay! All right, so that wraps up our discussion of Tokyo Ghoul, chapters 1 through 29. Now we are going to read you the description for the manga that we are reading next week, and chat has to guess it, because it's a little fun game we like to play. This is a lot longer than the Tokyo Ghoul one.
Enjoy.
Oh boy! Yoshioka Futaba has a few reasons why she wants to reset her image and life as a new high school student. Because she's cute, she was ostracized by her female friends in junior high, and because of a misunderstanding, she couldn't get her feelings across to the one boy she's ever liked. Now in high school, she is determined to be as unladylike as possible so that her friends won't be jealous of her. While living her life this way contently, she meets Tanaka-kun again. That's the boy that she had the feelings for. But he now goes under the name of Mabuchi-ko. He tells her that he felt the same way as she did when they were younger, but now things can never be the same again. Will Futaba be able to continue her love that never even started from 3 years ago?
I know what it is.
I know what it is.
I do.
I know.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say it?
It?
The chat got it?
Chat totally got
Yep.
it. Yep.
Bros TV
Yep.
at it.
Alharu Ride. I'm so excited. It'll be a nice change up from the last few manga that we've read.
Like, oh, it'll be a wonderful story about high school students trying to be themselves and find love.
Find all the love in the world. Yes, so
Precious.
we are reading How Hard to Ride chapters 1 through 15 next week with special guest Erica Sabo, who has joined us numerous times before, and we absolutely love her, so we're excited to have her. Let's go ahead and shout out our stuff super fast, and then we will say goodbye. I am Erin of HappiLeeErin. You're here on my channel, youtube.com/HappiLeeErin. I do anime reviews and anime first impressions as well. Bless you. Sorry, my dog is just sneezing. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Anime reviews and anime first impressions, as well as random manga tags and anime tags and stuff like that, and mental health awareness videos. So if you'd like to check out any of that, feel free to do so. Also, all of the previous 79 manga pods are hosted here. So make sure you go check some of those out as well if you haven't already. If you want to find me on any social media site, I'm HappiLeeErin all across the everything. Bless you.
Hi guys, and all poor sweet puppies. Bless you, sweet puppies. Hi everybody, I'm Dodger. I have 2 YouTube channels, youtube.com/press hard to continue, where I do one honk out of one gaming stuff, anime flavored sometimes, I don't know. And also youtube.com/dexterity bonus, where I drink coffee and talk about my cats. And there's going to be footage going up tonight of when we were trying to take footage of a spooky blackout that we had, but then all the lights came on.
You mean a spoopy?
Destroyed it.
Spoopy blackout?
A spoopy blackout happened, yeah.
Blackout.
And on all the social medias, I'm at DexBonus, DEXBONUS. So come hang out. Yay!
What's up, ladies and gents? My name is Lou, and I'm from Sitting by the Window Anime Reviews. You can find me at youtube.com/SBTW Anime Reviews. And you can also find me on Twitter at SBTW Anime Review. I do anime-related stuff. If you haven't guessed, usually first impressions, sometimes reviews. Sometimes I do other things that have nothing to do with actually appraising anime. It's just really random stuff. Like I always say, I'm really inconsistent. But whatever. It's lots of fun. And yeah, so follow me at your own discretion. Good luck.
Yay, Lou! Yay!
I like that there's a common through line with all of ours, which is that our channels are hyper inconsistent. So mine is youtube.com/Babylonian, which is I guess it's like mostly video game stuff and a lot of me talking into a camera about video game stuff, but also like anime recommendations about once a week. I'm starting to bring guests onto those. So I had Crunchyroll's Sailor B last week talking about Yatterman Night, which I'm really, really liking right now. If you haven't seen that show, you should probably be watching Yatterman Night. But also video game stuff. I put like half an hour of Majora's Mask 3DS footage up recently because that game is a thing that I've been playing and it's incredible. Just kind of running the game. I did a K-pop video a few days ago just on a whim, so I'm doing whatever I feel like basically. But yeah, and like Erin, you can find me at that name on literally every website. So twitter.com/Babylonian, babylonian.tumblr.com. I think the only websites I don't have that name on are Instagram and Pinterest. So the latter hasn't ever really come up. But yeah, I have that one name pretty much everywhere on the internet, and YouTube is kind of the main place where I hang out and do anime stuff and video game stuff and whatever other kind of stuff that I want to do.
Awesome. And you can find all of the links down in the description down below. Everybody's everything that they've said is down there, as well as all of Yoku's stuff. You should once again go and tell him that we love him and are thinking of him on Twitter, because he gets to use all of the prayers and good thoughts that they can give him.
Yeah, also subscribe to youtube.com/Yokurama Russian.
Yes, Yokurama
It's going to be a thing one day.
We need to have Yokurama Russian surpass Yokurama Game Talk.
Please.
Let's give that gift to him when he comes back. Make that a present.
Please, just give him this one gift.
This is all he needs.
To be the very best, like no one ever was.
The
Yes.
very best Russian ever
The very best Russian channel.
of all time. Yes, thank you all so much for joining us to talk about Tokyo Ghoul. Nick, thank you so much for coming on. We loved having you. You were a wonderful guest, and we can't wait to have you back on the next time we talk Tokyo Ghoul and whatever manga you want to talk about. You're welcome anytime. Yep.
Thank you very
So
much.
clap.
That was super fun. I had a blast.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you all so much for watching and chat, and we will see you next week, same time, same place, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on this channel, youtube.com/HappiLeeErin, talking about Blue Spring Ride, How Hard to Ride with Erica Sabo. Woo! We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye!
Bye.
Bye.